Alright guys, Greg Everett here, Catalyst Athletics. Another commentary video, 30-something or so of these. Starting off here, Audra, the Snatch, looks like 52 or 53 maybe. Can't see what's in there. Probably 52. She probably did 3 to 5 singles here. You can see crashing on her a little bit, having to struggle in the bottom position. I always remind people that the 9 times out of 10, the best place to stabilize a snatch is in the very bottom of the squat. So you're usually going to be more successful trying to fight for it sitting in all the way to the bottom rather than trying to rush to stand up and chase it around the platform. It's also a lot less chance of you dying or killing someone else in the process. So obviously there are some times when, for example, that bar is bouncing forward as you hit the bottom, where you'll actually be more successful if you stand up and you can kind of take a step to get under it. But most of the time I encourage people to really sit in, and when I say that, I mean literally sit their butts on their calves and settle all the way in, focus on that stability first. This is Alyssa here, 110 kilos. She's a 63 kilo lifter. I believe this is a 6 rep max attempt here, and this was a PR. And I can't remember if she did 2 PRs this day. And I don't remember if this was the first or second one. I think she might have done 108 first and then done 110 for a second PR. So she's pretty strong, but the squat is not her strongest lift. She's definitely a much stronger puller than a squatter. So it's always a priority for me to really try to push that squat strength for her. Although she's now cleaned 101 and racked 103 a couple of times. So her strength is definitely improving. But, of course, always the answer to how strong should I be is stronger. Audra here, doing some pulls, 80 kilos. Again, she's one of those people who I will have pull way heavier than her best snatch and clean, because she does have that margin there, and it makes her a lot more confident. And, of course, if we can get more strength in those movements, then she's going to be better off regardless of what else is going on. Mary here warming up some front squats. You saw Danielle doing those snatches a second ago. She's another lifter who's not incredibly stable in the bottom. It's getting better, but her ankle flexibility is limited. You saw right there how her shins were kind of bouncing back as she tried to sit in and pushing her out of that position. So that's something that she's constantly fighting. So at this point, I was making her try to sit in and hold the bottom of all of her snatches and overhead squats for 3 seconds. So usually when you say 3 seconds, that ends up being more like 2, which is still a pretty significant period of time when you're holding a weight overhead. So like that one right there, she hit that perfect position, didn't get bounced around. But she also has that tendency to, because she's so explosive at the hips, she has a tendency to kick that bar out a little bit. And not keep it close enough to herself. And the farther forward the bar goes, the more it tends to want to go back behind your head as you turn it over. So she ends up in that position a little more frequently than we'd like, obviously, losing bars behind because she's so fast, and it's virtually never an issue of being able to get the bar up or get herself under it. It's more just an issue of being able to stabilize it. So right there you see her kind of struggling a little bit to get it settled, but she's able to get it better. Alyssa here, muscle snatches. I think she was going for 5, as heavy as she could this day. You can really see that right side, that tightness in her shoulder and all that stuff that I'm constantly talking about her having to deal with. Muscle snatch for me, really, really good exercise, but I feel like a lot of people don't do it correct. And I hesitate to use the word correctly, but because really it is my opinion. It's not some law about muscle snatches, but most people will not keep their elbows up during the turnover. They'll pull high, drop the elbows, and then press it out. Now there's always a little pressing motion at the end of a muscle snatch, just like there is the end of a turnover of a snatch. So like that one was borderline. Her elbows got high,
close.
But I would have liked to see them higher. Right there you saw them already dropping below shoulder level, so even if she had turned that over and pressed it out, I wouldn't have counted it. So my rule of thumb is that the elbows have to get to at least shoulder height and never drop below that during the turnover in order for it to count. And sometimes it's a little bit a little hard to tell, a little dubious in some cases, and obviously you're not, winning or losing any competitions based on the quality of a muscle snatch. So, in end of the day, it's really not that big of a deal, but you are using that exercise to try to improve the turnover of the snatch. So, if you are letting that movement diverge significantly from the movement of the turnover, you're kind of defeating the purpose. So there's really no point in being able to muscle snatch 100 kilos if it's really just a snatch grip clean and press versus the mechanics that you would be using while pulling under a snatch. Audra here, stiff-legged deadlifts. Another great back strength exercise. I don't really care about the hamstrings and the glutes in this case. I'm really just wanting to get that static back arch strength to maintain that position in the pole. Danielle here, clean and jerks. This is 68, it looks like. I think there's a 1 and a 0.5 on the outside. I can't really tell. You can see her left leg. She tends to shoot that leg out a little bit. We've got to still working on different ways to address that. Haven't found the perfect one yet, but it's getting there. All right, guys, please share these videos, repost them, like them, comment on them, do all that fun stuff. Thanks.